Welcome back. It's time now for Media Watch, and you know what that means. James Creedon's here, ready to go. Now,
Almost
James,
ready.
We've seen coming out of North Korea, the most
Yes.
secretive state in the world, of course. We've seen pictures, unprecedented by their standards, of the leader, Kim Jong-un, and a woman next to him. And this woman now turns out to be his wife. These pictures have gone all around the world, but of course you've got some more stuff and some more analysis as to what they actually mean.
Right. So he's in his 20s. Many people feared that he might be a weak, or rejoiced in the possibility of his being a weak or leader after Kim Jong-il. So perhaps the mediatization, the media frenzy around this woman, and I can show you here online, she is his wife. They're married since 2009. His father and grandfather never spoke about their private life. The First Lady was never seen in public. So why this change? Is it to show that North Korea is now a more modern state, more Western friendly, more friendly with democracy? Or is it to show that he's a stable guy in a relationship, and is it an attempt to make him look stronger?
I have a theory, but you can carry on, yeah?
Right. Let's roll the pictures while we're theorizing. We have pictures of the PR effort to show her by his side. Let's listen to the fake clapping in this video. Yeah, there definitely weren't that many, I think, Koreans in that particular image. So this was a whole series of promo pictures on a day out. They saw dolphins, they saw caves, they went to an amusement park, they had cheering swimmers going absolutely ballistic, and then they ended up on a roller coaster. And let's go to the computer again, because actually what a lot of the Western press has been wondering is, who is this guy? Let's just quickly have a look at him. He is appearing in the middle of this photo that I have here. And he was in the roller coaster, right? Along with everybody else. And let's just zoom in on him, because he's okay,
I can see it now. There's the kind of like...
That's Kim Jong-un.
Looks like a Western European chappie there in the middle of it all.
In the middle of the power elite inner circle of Pyongyang. And as they headlined here, here is my only question. WTF is up with this guy, and a little arrow pointing at, like, who is he? So I think people are wondering, is he a spy? Is he a journalist who managed to embed himself very successfully? Who is he?
He's probably a gap year student, got lost.
Having fun with the Kims.
Okay. My theory about why he's being seen in public with his wife is that she is absolutely stunning.
Well, this is...
And he's saying, look how lucky I am.
She's not a bad looking lady, so that might be part of it.
She looks really lovely. Okay, Rue 89, which is a news website here in France, very popular and very successful in its journalistic scoops, has an article about those who've been forced to move because of the construction of the Olympic facilities in London. Now, when this all happened in Beijing 4 years ago, there were many hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people forced to move. What was the situation in London?
Well, I suppose you got journalists going. They're looking for there's obviously a big sporting event. They're looking for the other things that are happening around. So they're digging.
And quite right too.
That's right. And they found this guy. His name is Julian Chain. He was one of several people who lived on Clay's Lane, which no longer exists because it's covered over by an Olympic village now. He was one of 450 people who were forced to move, essentially, because of the building of the Olympic facilities up in Stratford. Now, he tells his story. He tells about the fact that he was reimbursed, I think something like 11,000 plus. That was on top of the money to reimburse him for the move. And this was sort of compensation on top of that. He thinks that wasn't enough, really.
Did they actually move him from one house to another house, or? I
think from what I can gather, the people in this particular lane, they were looked after. They were moved to another place nearby, and then they were given money on top of that. But I suppose, they are complaining. But when you look at what happened in Seoul in 1988, 720,000 people who had to leave the areas around where the facilities were built. Beijing, as you were saying, Mark, 2008, 1.5 million people. I mean, those figures are actually, they're just mind-boggling.
I know for a fact, because I spoke to the Beijing Organising Committee about it, there was a whole town that was demolished and a factory. It was all moved to the south of China to get them out of the way of Beijing, to not risk contaminating the air. It was...
I mean, I suppose those figures, when you have very, very high populations in cities like Beijing, they're still huge, but certainly from maybe a Western European perspective, they are just massive figures. That's entire cities that you're actually, as you said, but entire capital city size.
But from a London perspective, it seems they've looked after people quite well.
Pretty well. And I think 450. Certainly everybody was moved into another home and given compensation. Obviously, some people didn't want to have to move.
I knew Stratford, the area, Stratford, East London, where the stadium is. Beforehand, it was fair to say it was very run down. Now it looks pretty splendid. So maybe that's a good thing.
Regeneration.
James, thank you very much indeed. As ever, James Creedon with Media Watch.